Welcome. We are deliberating initiation for Vedic mathematics as a mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras. In the present session, our deliberation focus is going to be the third letter of the text of Ganita Sutras. The third letter of the text of Ganita Sutra 1 is A. It is this letter which, with its TC value 2, in reference to the previous pair of TC values of first pair of letters A and Ka as 6 and 4, makes a values triple 6, 4, and 2. We see that the values triple 6, 4, and 2 in continuity or double of the values triple 1, 2, and 3 in its reverse orientation. These features, which are glaringly, pointedly under attention, naturally draw our attention and give us a food of thought for the way the mathematical domain is teached and way the unfolding of this mathematical domain is to be processed sequentially. And this sequential unfolding process of the Vedic mathematical domain is the main point of attention, main point of deliberation today. The point for visualization is that trimurti, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiv, and Lord Vishnu together make trimurti, and trimurti sustains Tirloki as of full potentialities. Vedic mathematical domain is of full potentialities parallel to the potentialities of the nature, Asht Prakriti, eightfold nature, fulfilling the existence phenomenon needs. Therefore, first three letters, the triple letters, that way bring us face to face with the internal, simultaneous, synthetic setup of the Trimurti for sustenance of Triloki. Lord Brahma is a four-headed Lord. Lord Brahma is the presiding deity of the creators of space, four space. Four space is of a spatial order. Lord Vishnu is the presiding deity of self-referral domain, six space of creative dimensional order. The spatial order of the creators of space presided by Lord Brahma, and creative order, self-referral space presided by Lord Vishnu, are separated by the solid order, transcendental domain, five space presided by Lord Shiv. Therefore, while we have to be parallel with the organization of the Ganita Sutras, we have to be parallel to the organization of the Trimurti domain. Means we have to be parallel with the integrated format of creators of space, transcendental domain, and self-referral format. 4 space is the creator's space. 5 space is the transcendental domain, and self-referral 6 space is the self-referral format. So 4 space, 5 space, and 6 space. We know that first letter A, the sixth vowel, is of TC value 6, and the same is parallel to the geometric format of 6 space, and as such it takes us to the shelter of Lord Vishnu. Lord Brahma, creator the supreme, is the presiding deity of a 4 space which is of a spatial order. And the second letter, Ka Brahma, is also of the potentialities that it transits and transforms into a Ka Shiv. It is this simultaneous compactified format of the creator's space because of its transcendental origin, which will help us have insight and enlightenment about the mathematical domain being reached sequentially by its first letter of TC value 6, the second letter of TC value 4, and the third letter of TC value 2. One may have a pause here and take note that the third letter O is an elongated first vowel. Its TC value is 2 parallel to 1 plus 1. As such, it is initially parallel to the pair of linear units. It is a synthetic setup of a pair of linear units. And we know the TC value 2 as such when takes to 2 space with hypercube 2 as its representative body, and 2 space is having 5 geometries range. Therefore, the third letter O as of value 2 is firstly parallel to the spatial order of the creator's space, and further it is of 5 geometries range, and therefore it is at the dimension order of the 6 space that the 2 space, the dimension of 6 space is the dimension of a creative space, and simultaneously it being of 5 geometries range, the same takes us to the foundation for the fire pillar, the third element, which is being sustained by the transcendental knot at the seat of transcendental origin of the creator's space. Creator's space is of a spatial order, and the origin of 2 space is 3 space. 2 space has 5 geometries range. There are 5 versions of 2 space. Therefore, sadhakas fulfilled with intensity efforts to be parallel with the first triple letters of Ganita of Ganita Sutras of the Ganita Sutras would mean that these first 3 letters or the first 3 letters of the first formulation Ekadikain of Ganita Sutra 1. The formulation Ekadikain is a composition of 9 letters. 9 is the square value of 3. Therefore, the first 3 letters, which as 1, 2, and 3 make a distinct triple, as much as that all of these are non-composite numbers. Further, 1 has no proper divisor, and 2 is having only 1 as its proper divisor, and as such 2 is a prime and it is the only even prime. Value 3 as well has only 1 as its proper divisor, therefore 3 is a prime and it is the first odd prime. It is this uniqueness of the triple 1, 2 and 3 which deserves to be comprehended well, as we know that the triple 1, 2 and 3 within creators the space which is of a spatial order will make half as a working unit. This half as a working unit will make 1 as 2 and 2 as 4 and 3 as 6, and further 1, 2 and 3 as 2, 4 and 6. In its reverse orientation is going to be 6, 4 and 2. One may have a pause here and take note that when we are within creators the space which is of a spatial order, in this space the uniqueness is that here 2 space in the role of dimension takes us to 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, equal to 2 multiplied by 4, and also equal to minus 2 multiplied by minus 2. It is not only the superimposition of addition and multiplication operation, but also there is superimposition of the orientations. The pair of orientations as well gets superimposed indistinguishably. It is this feature of the creator's space which is at work while there is a unfolding process of the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras parallel to the synthetic composition order of the text as per the TCV values of the respective letters of the text. Therefore, the sadhakas fulfilled with the intensity of urge to be on the initiation format for entering the Vedic mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras shall be face to face with the complete unfolding range of the TC values of 9 letters of the formulation Ekadikane, and it will take us to 642, the first 3 letters, and fourth letter takes us to value 7. Therefore, here at this phase and stage of learning, at this phase and stage of teaching, at this phase and stage of initiation for learning and teaching of Vedic mathematics as per the Vedic mathematical domain organization features shall be face to face with a fact that the values triple 6, 4 and 2 is a unique triple, as firstly it is double of the values triple 1, 2 and 3, and secondly it is of a reverse orientation, and this pair of features take us the organization as well as unfolding of the organization being the distinctive feature of the spatial order of the creators of space. It is this feature which will help us appreciate, which will help us acquire proper insight and appropriate enlightenment as to how the values triple 6, 4 and 2 parallel to the values triple of formulation Rishi Shear, who is full of potentialities to transcend through the domain and glimpse the origin. The origin is of 6 space. 7 space plays the role of origin of a 6 space. So value 7 is the TC value of the 4th letter. So while we shall be chasing the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras in terms of initial three steps parallel to the TC values of the first three letters of the text of Ganita Sutras, our attention shall remain upon the ultimate reach at the next step at the origin of the self-referral domain. Therefore, it is this feature of unification, it is this feature of transcendence. This is the phenomenon as first triple letters with values 6, 4 and 2 as of summation value 12. Therefore, the number 12 as TCV value is going to be the first basic feature of the organization. And we know that value 12 is parallel to the TC value of formulation Rishi, and it is also parallel to the TC value of formulation Yog, as 6 plus 4 plus 2, 12 is 1/4 of its product value. 6 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 2 is 48. So it is this 1/4 feature of the product value which is going to be the basic reach of this system, which permits approach quarter by quarter. The dimensional bodies are to be approached as fourfold manifestation layers within the creator space at four space, and each fold, each of the quadruple folds are to play their specific distinctive roles. Therefore, this feature 6 plus 4 plus 2 is equal to 12 and 6 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 2 is equal to 48 is to be faced from the another values point of view as well. We know that 6 space has 4 space as its dimension and 2 space as its dimension of dimension. Therefore, value 48 is the value of the dimensional frame of 6 space. One may have a pause here and take note that 48 is equal to 16 into 3. So it is the triple fold of the dimensional frame of the creators of space. Therefore, the feature of value 48 as a value of the dimensional frame of 6 space and as triple of the value of the dimensional frame of the creator's space will help us appreciate as to how the Vedic mathematical domain is having simultaneous compactification of different formats. It is this compactification of different formats which are to be faced, and the unfolding process of the Vedic mathematical domain as well is to be parallel to the way there happens to be a compactification of the formats. Now, this process of having glimpse of the origin within the domain, it is this transcending within the domain for glimpse of the origin is a yoga discipline. The yoga discipline, Patanjali Yoga Darshan, is the scripture which becomes the mathematical scripture of the mathematical domain process for its unfolding. So it is, if the sadhakas are fulfilled with intensity of virtue to be parallel with the unfolding process of the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras, then sadhakas shall sequentially follow the text of Patanjali Yoga Darshan of 195 shlokas organized as quadruple padas: Samadhi Pada, Sadhana Pada, Vibhuti Pada, and Kavalya Pada of 51, 55, 55, and 34 shlokas. The very first sutra of Patanjali Yoga Darshan, At Yog Anushashanam, brings us face to face with triple formulation: At of TC value 7, Yog of TC value 12, and Anushashan as TC value 29, together making a value 48. It is this feature which will help us have appreciation of the organization of the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras, which is parallel to the organization of the text of Patanjali Yoga Darshan. It is the reason that the at the initiation stage itself, the first lesson comes to be, the first instruction comes to be to follow the Anushashan, the discipline of the yoga. Anushashan is the formulation which is of TC value 29, parallel to the TC value of formulation Brahma, a four-head Lord, Creator the Supreme, the presiding deity of the creators of space, a spatial order for space. Therefore, the interest of complete comprehension of the organization and its reverse unfolding process of the text of Vedic mathematical domain will take us to the discipline of Patanjali Yoga Darshan as a mathematical scripture. This privilege, this enlightenment, this insight, this initiation is the first lesson to be absorbed at the initiation stage itself. Let us have a fresh visit to the formulation Yoga Darshan. The formulation Yoga Darshan is a composition of pair of formulations. Yoga is the formulation which accepts TC value 12. Darshan is the formulation which accepts TC value 21. The summation value is 33. As we have seen in the previous sessions, that value 33 is availing same digit value 3 for its both placements. Further, we have been face to face with this organization format being parallel with the synthetic setup of a three-dimensional frame as a pair of three-dimensional frames of half dimensions. Therefore, the unfolding process of the phase and stage of the third letter takes us to the formulation Yoga Darshan and two values pair 12 and 21, and also to the summation value 33, parallel with the organization format of a synthetic setup of a three-dimensional frame into a pair of three-dimensional frames of half dimensions. Let us have a pause here and let us glimpse the canopy. If we visit the corner of a cube, corner of a three-space body, corner of hypercube 3, the representative regular body of three space in four space, then we will be face to face with the organization feature that from corner there is a threefold flow along triple edges of three distinct surfaces of the cube. Now the corner as the origin, as the point at which all the three axes stand embedded. One may further have a pause here that three-dimensional frame, the triple axis of the three-dimensional frame embedded in the corner or half dimensions. The three-dimensional frame embedded in the corner of a cube is a three-dimensional frame of half dimensions. Now the flow from the corner point towards the second end points of the axis as edges will be of value 2 each, and then the flow along the diagonal of each of these three surfaces will take us to value 3. It is this feature which makes a canopy as of total value 16, which is parallel to the value of the dimensional frame of 4 space. The dimensional frame of 4 space is a setup of quadruple spatial dimensions. We may have a pause here and take note that the corner point as such is a point of the cube, and simultaneously this corner point is a point of the outer space, which is a 4 space. So the corner point as a origin, as a 4 space origin, is leading to a canopy of threefold flows along the triple surfaces of the total value 16 parallel to the value of the dimensional frame of 4 space. It is this feature which will help us appreciate as to how sequentially the organization of the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras, when is parallel with the composition format features of its sequential placement of the letters, it makes a canopy, it makes a domain, and it is this canopy and it is this domain which becomes the subject matter of chase, the subject matter of exploitation as applied values for the existence phenomenon of our solar universe. It is this canopy whose comprehension as a three-dimensional frame of half dimensions of the total value 16 parallel to the value of the dimensional frame of 4 space being available for all the 8 corner points will help us have comprehension, appreciation, and imbibing of the setup of a creator's space as hypercube of 4, a 4 space domain enveloped within a solid boundary of 8 components. Therefore, the reach up till the first 3 letters of the text of Ganita Sutras as such is the reach which will further help us appreciate as that the transcendental domain, which is a fourfold manifestation layer of quadruple values 3, 4, 5, and 6 has its printout for its solid order, for its spatial boundary, for its transcendental domain, as well as for its 6 for its self-referral origin within a surface, within this letter, the third letter of TC value 2 as a right angle triangle. Now it is this setup of triple 3, 4, 5 as of linear orders, but the 6 is the area, is a spatial order. Now one may have a pause here and take note that 3 square plus 4 square plus 5 square as spatial units plus 6, which itself is a spatial unit, it takes us to summation value 56 as spatial units. Now one may further have a pause here and take note that 6 square plus 4 square plus 2 square as well takes us to value 56. It is the most blissful stage of comprehension as to how there happens to be the parallel organization for the solid order transcendental domain hypercube 5 as well as for the spatial order for the self-referral space of the creative dimensional order. The first letter with value 6, the second letter with value 4, the third letter with value 2 takes us to the square units value 56, and 56 as 7 cross 8 will further bring us face to face with as to how the flow from the orb of the sun from a 6 space as an origin transcending within this space and having a reach up till the Tirloki. It is this format which in fact brings us face to face with as to how the fourfold manifested creations are being the manifested domains having a seal at the origin because of the fourth fold. Domain remains manifested as a sealed integrated domain because of a seal at its origin, which is of a higher order. It is this value 56 which ultimately will become the value of a light, the Prakash. We will be coming to this feature subsequently, but here for the present it will further be blissful to take note that value 56 is equal to 28 plus 28. Value 28 is the TC value of Brahm, and further the total number of factors of the values range 1 to 28 is 56. It is this integrated culmination of different processes which bring us face to face with the highest degree of potentialities of the mathematical domain of the Ganita Sutras. As such, we shall have a very positive approach for having a transition from the domains, the third folds to the fourth fold. We know that fourth space plays the role of an origin of a three space. It is creative origin. It is creative origin and it is of a spatial order. Therefore, the seal at the origin of the domain, when is unsealed, then there happens a split. It is a synthesis and the split at the creative origin, which is to remain a point of focused attention while we are up till the third letter. Then we are face to face with a sealed domain, domain being sealed because of the origin of a higher order having placement at the center, at the middle. Now see, when we are having a linear axis and when we have a pair of linear axes, then the synthesis takes place and it is of value 3. However, the 3 space has a 3-dimensional frame of 3 linear axes. When has a split, it results into a pair of 3-dimensional frames of half dimensions. And we know that each domain, as 3 space as a domain, is having 7 versions. Therefore, this synthesis and split, as it is of a features of a pair of linear axes synthesizing as a axis and the 3-dimensional frame splitting into a pair of 3-dimensional frames of half dimensions and synthesizing as a 3-dimensional frame of full dimensions, and each of the domain having 7 versions. So the reach from pair of values 1, 1 to pair of value 3, 3, and next step will take us to value 7 and 7. One may have a pause here and take note that the cube as hypercube 3 being of domain boundary ratio a raised to power 3 is equal to 6b square, there being 6 surface plates. Therefore, the cube makes 7 versions, starting with all these 6 surface plates, then 5, then 4, 3, 2, 1, and ultimately no surface plate. The state of a cube with 0 surface plate is the state which deserves to be comprehended well. It is this phase and stage, it is this feature which will help us appreciate that within 4 space, because of the spatial order, there will be synthesis, and this synthesis is going to be a synthesis of a 3-dimensional frame as a pair of 3-dimensional frames of half dimensions, and as such the pair of values 7, 7 as synthesized again as value 7 will help us appreciate the 4th letter dha, to which we will be coming in the next session, is of TC value 7. How the TC value 7 as formulation sapt is having a TC value 14. It is this feature which deserves to be comprehended well. One is to be face to face with it. One is to comprehend and imbibe it fully. It is here from where we can be face to face with the quadruple formulations: Akash, space; Disha, the direction; Nab, the sky; Antriksh, the ultimate space. Now the end reach of a space. These quadruple formulations are of TC value 8, 12, 18, 27. Now see, when we are having cube as a synthetic setup of 8 subcubes, then we will see that the 8 subcubes are of structural components 27, 18, 12, and 8. It is this feature which brings us face to face with the organization format of the text of Ganita Sutras and the resultant mathematical domain of the Ganita Sutras. So up till third letter, we will remain concentrated up till the three space as a domain, as a synthetic setup of 8 octants leading to the four sequential distinct structural setups of Akash, Disha, Nabh and Antriksh. When we will be reaching at the fourth letter, then we shall be having more insight about this phase and stage as well. It is here from where we have to confront ourselves with the transcendental cavity at the origin seat of the creator's space. We know the origin seat of the creator's space is of a transcendental feature. Five space plays the role of an origin of a four space. So the four within four space at its origin, at its transcendental origin, the solid order domain is as a seal superimposed within the domain of a spatial order. Therefore, it is the transcendental cavity, a cavity within the creative boundary. The creative boundary of 10 components has an enveloping seal for the transcendental domain. It is this transcendental cavity at the seat of the origin which is the main focused attention of the mathematical systems of the Ganita Sutras, as the challenge and poser is how to have a bridging cap for this transcendental cavity, and there shall be a smooth transition, and this smooth transition is to avail the transcendental origin as a transcendental seal, as a transcendental foundation of the fire pillar, the third element. Therefore, the sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to be parallel with the mathematical organization features of the text of Ganita Sutras shall be face to face with this feature of the transcendental cavity at the origin seat of the creator's space, and the way the Vedic mathematics, Vedic systems are successfully capping this cavity. For it, we have to have a revisit to the cosmic windows. The transcendental domain is enveloped within a creative boundary of 10 components. These 10 components of the creative boundary of the transcendental domain ultimately play the role of cosmic windows. With this, each creative boundary component having a strip off from the boundary of the transcendental domain, it will dimensionalize the outer space. Four space will dimensionalize the outer space as a six space, as we know that four space plays the role of a creative dimension of six space. Now, as four space plays the role of a dimension of a sixth space. As such, the six boundary components of the transcendental domain together go parallel with the dimensional frame of a sixth space. It is this organization of the creative boundary of transcendental domain being 10 components, as six of them manifesting parallel to the dimensional frame of the sixth space, and remaining four manifesting distinctively being of value 16 as parallel to the dimensional frame of a fourth space. It is this organization, it is this split, it is this synthesis of the creative boundary as 4 and 6 components and simultaneous manifestation of the dimensional frame of a fourth space and a dimensional frame of a sixth space provides a transcendental bridging. It is this transcendental bridging, because of the cosmic windows at the transcendental cavity within the creator's space, which makes the organization of a left door entry for the creator's space and right door entry for the self-referral space around the transcendental seal. It is this format feature of the Vedic mathematical domain of the Ganita Sutras which deserves to be comprehended well. Sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge shall be specifically parallel with the left door entry along the transcendental knot. Left door entry from the transcendental knot is within the creator's space, and the right door entry from the transcendental knot is of a creator's space. It is this feature, it is this phenomenon which deserves to be comprehended well. One shall sit comfortably and permit the transcending mind to be parallel with the placement of the transcendental knot at the seat of transcendental origin within the creator's space, and there happening transcendental cap for the transcendental cavity, as much as that towards the left of the transcendental knot is a door of value 4 cross 4 parallel to the dimensional frame of a fourth space, and towards the right is a door for the entry within the self-referral space of value 6 cross 4, 24, parallel to the dimensional frame of sixth space. As such, the conclusion comes to be that the dimensional frame of value 16 of fourth space, dimensional frame of value 24 of sixth space is having a transcendental knot which is providing the needed bridging for the transcendental cavity. It is this attainment which is adding all the potentialities to the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras. Thank you very much.